Hey guys, welcome back, and for the last video in this unit, it's going to be a super quick video just talking about the desk. So this is just like some ideas, some visual ideas of how you can create a very small setup or even a very big setup depending on what you want. So come with me, I'm going to go through this with you before in the next unit we're going to start going to other tutors' places and seeing how they do it. Okay guys, so just before we get started with this particular lesson, don't forget you can head on over to the website to get access to our full write-up. And if you do want to support us as well as get access to our community, direct access to myself and all the other mentors, as well as progress tracking, a customized pathway, and so much more, then you can sign up to our YJ Club and all the links are below. Okay, so we've actually put together, specifically for this video, a really compact setup, but still quite a high-end setup, okay? So as you can see, we have everything in this very like vertical look, okay? For me, it's quite a modern thing. Something I quite like is actually standing desks. So that's why this is here. But this is just an IKEA desk. It's super, super cheap. And it's a standing desk, obviously. And you can see it's tiny. If you imagine just on top of that, I've got my laptop here and a screen, but you can just put your laptop on top of that, and you're kind of good to go. It's a perfectly nice desk. Now, we'll have some imagery of other ways you can do this, if it's on a normal bigger desk or whatever it is. The point is that we've got the key hardware components. So we've got the computer, okay? So whether it's a desktop-like thing like that or a laptop, it doesn't matter. It's on top there. We've got our speakers, and ideally, with the speakers, we do try to get them at ear height. So if I was to do it, I'd be like this. But this was the closest we can get with what we got in the studio. Now, if you're sitting at home and you're sitting down at a desk, then just try and get those speakers on the desk so that they're kind of coming from either side and they're coming towards your ears on that kind of height. It's just a good idea in terms of just hearing back the true sound of what you're recording. After that, let's think about the kind of amp setup that you're going to be using. I'm using a Kemper here. Now this is the digital version amp that we were talking about. So we were talking about solid state digital valve. Whenever it comes to recording stuff, which again we're going to talk about so much over this course, digital is just so much easier. It's just so much easier. You can record valve amps. You have to have various mics in different positions, and we will look at that when we go to Alex's studio. But for me, in a home studio, it's going to be a digital amp, and the Kemper is quite a high-end digital amp. There's lots of versions of this where you can see there's no kind of like speaker to it. It's just literally the digital processing, and that is essentially like the Boss Katana that we looked at in a previous video, just less amp-like looking. You might replace that with a big old amp here, like that Katana amp, whereby that is being plugged into your audio interface. Now, my audio interface is actually down here. It's just a slightly bigger version of the Focusrite. It just gives me 4 inputs, and actually there's more on the back as well. So it just, if I did need to record a couple of people, like sometimes we have a few tutors in here at once, then, I've got the option of recording 3, 4 guitars. I think this actually does 8 in total. You can even record a drum kit, an electric drum kit or something like that. So again, it's all very simple. It's on the desk. I've got my audio interface. I've got my amp. And again, this is just, you don't have to get a Kemper. It's a very cool piece of kit. I absolutely love it. It looks a little bit complicated, as you can see, but basically I've dialed in my John Mayer tone and I'm ready to go. You can add all your EQs, your effects, everything you want on that. That's going through the interface and into the computer. So really my setup is very simple. Admittedly, I have to say I've got some quite nice gear. So, these speakers, although they're old, they were quite expensive at the time. I've got nice speaker stands so that they don't wobble around too much anyway. I've got a nice amp, I've got a nice interface, and I've got a nice computer. I've got an Apple Mac, kind of quite a modern Mac. So we will talk more about potentially what you need on your computer to run this, because some computers just won't have the capacity, the speed to run some of the DAWs we're going to talk about, but that's in a next unit. Okay, that's in unit 3, we'll talk about that. Now, all of that you can actually just get in one little box. So it depends on your setup, guys. If you just don't have room for that, it's all, you can get it in the kind of Wazares or this kind of thing. You know, this plugs into your guitar. Within that, you've got effects, you've got EQ, you've got different amp simulators, you've got your volume control here. This literally acts as the audio interface because you can literally plug the USB out into your computer and it does the same thing. Okay, so this is just a really cool example of knowing what your aim is. Okay, if your aim is, okay, I do want to have a computer at my setup, but realistically, all I'm going to be recording is just little ditties here and there. I want to maybe, for example, if you're a songwriter and you just want to keep getting your ideas down onto something like Jonty does in our office, he loves that kind of thing. You just don't need more than that. That will do you absolutely fine. You don't need all of this fancy stuff with it, okay? Because obviously this all comes at a cost and it also comes at space. Even though that's very compact, it still will take up some space in a studio. So again, at the heart of all of this that I'm teaching comes the question, what do you want? What's your space for? Do you have a little bit of space in the living room? Do you have a full room? Do you have an entire studio like this? Whatever it is, you need to decide what your aim is. And with that, hopefully I'm giving you the knowledge that you need to decide, okay, well, I am going to choose to get this amp, this set of guitars, this audio interface, that kind of thing. So I hope that's really helped, guys, giving you a basic understanding of what we're trying to set up here. In the next unit, we're going to start going to the tutors' houses and we're going to talk about the hardware. So all the hardware that I've spoken about here, we're going to see exactly what they have, why they use it, and we're going to work through the hardware before in unit 3 coming to the software. So actually going into the computer and learning how to record using software. So have fun with that and I'll see you later. Okay guys, that's it for this lesson. If you're looking for the next lesson, please do click here. If you're looking to start the whole series, then we've got the full playlist available right here. You can go from start to finish.